I'd like to call to order the work session, July 1st, 2019. Can you imagine? It's already July. Unbelievable. I know. Some of us are not here this evening, and so I think we have Councilmember Campbell on the phone. Are you there, Wally? Hello, Wally? Well, hopefully it'll get connected. She was there, so...
Mayor, I'm here. I'm sorry. I had the phone on mute. Excuse me.
All right, great. We hear you, Wally. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much for sitting in. We really appreciate it. And do we know about Councilmember Loretano yet?
She's not calling in, Mayor.
She's not calling in. Okay. So we have one item on the agenda. I'd like to remind council the staff will be pausing intermittently to answer any questions. We will now receive information regarding the homeless outreach program, where we have the opportunity to provide the feedback and any direction on the program changes. Please, Chief Geyer, Jerry Geyer presenting. Chief?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's an honor to be here tonight to talk to you about the Goodyear Police Department's homeless outreach. With me tonight is Deputy Chief Justin Hughes, who will be doing the bulk of the presentation. But before turning it over to Justin, I just wanted to provide a little bit of history. So there are over 500,000 people experiencing homelessness in the United States. Over 30% of those are in California alone. Arizona is well down on the list when compared with other states, and Goodyear has a very low number of homeless too, but we can't get complacent and we must remain proactive. To give you a comparison, the last MAG point in time count had Goodyear with 22 homeless. The city of Santa Cruz, California, which is smaller than Goodyear, has over 1,200 homeless in their city alone. The city of Santa Rosa, California, which is about double the size of Goodyear, has 2,800. Cities around the country have been resorted to initiatives such as buying old hotels and other buildings, renovating them to create homeless shelters because housing the homeless is cheaper than jail. They've hired social workers to accompany their police departments on patrol. They've established areas in their cities where they encourage the homeless to build camps. And larger municipalities are establishing homeless courts to try to break the cycle of repeated arrests. So in searching for an answer, law enforcement administrators from around the country have partnered with social services, medical professionals, faith-based professionals to come up with solutions. What they're finding is there is really no one solution. It's not a problem that law enforcement can arrest ourselves out of. What is needed are proactive approaches and community partnerships. And that's one of the reasons we created our homeless outreach team. Tonight, we have 2 members of our homeless outreach team, Sergeant Mary Ward and Officer Jonathan Martinez, sitting behind me, who continue to rack up awards and honors with their efforts. In fact, we have created a model unit which combines homeless outreach with mental health awareness. So the first thing we did when we created the homeless outreach team was we sent them to California to see cities that were inundated with homeless to learn how they handle their homeless issues. And their mission was to come back and establish a model program, which is what they've done. So tonight you're going to hear a little about what HOT is doing. We'll talk about the MAG 2019 point in time count. We'll show you how we compare with other cities with numbers of homeless in their programs. And I would ask if council has any direction for us moving forward to let us know. And now we'll hear from Justin about our HOT team.
Thank you, Chief.
Welcome, Justin.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I know Chief Geyer just recognized Officer Martinez and Sergeant Ward, but you will hear in my presentation what a great job that they have done so far. The first thing I want to talk about is the creation of the team. As previously mentioned by Chief Geyer, the team was started in September of 2018. We do not feel as though we have a significant homeless concern compared to other West Valley cities, but Chief Geyer wanted to take a proactive approach to ensure that does not change. The team acts as an additional resource for patrol in the management of incidents specifically related to homeless persons and/or behavioral health. Their primary focus is addressing homeless-related issues through outreach and enforcement. And as part of the community policing model, they are heavily involved with mental health, dementia, Alzheimer's, and in crisis intervention. Just to give council an idea of what you will see in the city of Goodyear. Typically, what you'll see in Goodyear are homeless individuals that live in the city in specific areas to include the retention area north of Interstate 10 and also the transient homeless that reside outside of Goodyear but may be in the city during the day or passing through. Our hot team is proactive in contacting these individuals who are often panhandling near shopping plazas and freeway exit ramps. They are offered services and taking enforcement action when a crime is observed. It is very rare that these individuals are accepting of social services, but we do have several success stories as a result of the team's intensive outreach. On rare occasions, we do have families that reach out to us for assistance that have fallen on hard times, lost a job, were evicted, and have no money or a place to live. Again, those are very rare situations, but we have been successful in getting those families or individuals assistance. The bottom line is we do not have a large number of homeless or transients in Goodyear, but we do need to remain proactive in our efforts of outreach and enforcement. Since the inception of the HOT team, we have collected data, and I want to share some of that with you now. The team established a database that currently includes over 60 documented homeless individuals. This does not mean that we have 60 homeless individuals living in Goodyear. This is an approximate number we have contacted in the 9 months since the program started. Many of these individuals we have contacted several times. The HOT team has responded to more than 800 calls for service. First and foremost, they are a resource for patrol and will respond to emergency calls for service, but also handle all homeless-related calls and most CIT or mental health calls for service as creating self-generated work. They have made over 50 arrests. Of those arrests, the majority are related to trespassing, shoplifting, and drug and/or paraphernalia possession. The team has contacted and built working relationships with more than 55 local businesses and have obtained trespass authorization notices from each. This gives us a tool for enforcement action should the order be violated. The HOT team has issued over 85 formal notices and over 200 verbal warnings. They have assisted with more than 50 social service transports. This would include to social services and to mental health facilities. And the team has assisted city departments with cleanup efforts and established numerous working relationships with other entities, including Phoenix Rescue Mission, Community Bridges, a New Leaf Shelter, Angels on Patrol, and Southwest Network. I'm going to discuss with you our 2019 point-in-time count. And the count this year was on January 22nd. This year's count was 22, which is identical to our 2018 numbers. As expected, we located individuals in various locations throughout the city, with many living in the retention areas north of I-10. In a few further slides, there will be maps and photographs depicting these areas, as well as the new no trespassing signs that have already been placed and will continue to be placed over the next several weeks. Not only was our team counting individuals in the city at the time, but offering resources to each person contacted. Half of the individuals contacted took resource handouts, but unfortunately none were accepting of any other services. The next slide is going to be a spreadsheet that shows our PIC count numbers over the prior 3 years. And council, if you want to take a minute to look at how Goodyear compares to our neighboring municipalities. And as you can see, most agencies have seen a steady increase over the previous 3 years. I'm going to highlight a few of the major areas that we located individuals during our count. So the photo on the left, the highlighted areas that are circled, and I know it's kind of hard to see on the screen, but these are the areas where we did locate either homeless individuals or where we did locate camps. The photo on the left is going to be the Lowe's Plaza at the southwest corner of Dysart and McDowell. And if you can look at that picture, the top right corner is going to be the Panda Express, and the circled items on the bottom are going to be the JCPenney, JCPenney, Lowe's, and the AT&T store. If you look at the photo on the right, that's going to be the bridge at Bullard and McDowell. At the time of the pit count, there were a few people living under that bridge, but they have since moved out of the city. And there will be a photo in a later slide to show what the camp looked like when it was occupied and when they left. The top left photo is going to be the retention area north of I-10 that extends from Litchfield west to about Bullard. This area tends to have our highest population of homeless. If you look to the far right, next to where the two circled areas are, that's going to be the Denny's and Wendy's restaurants. 16 of the 22 individuals in our pit count were located in this specific area alone. The top right photo on this slide is going to be the area just south of Abrazo Hospital, and the bottom photo is going to be the area just west of the Park and Ride. Most of these areas were unattended or abandoned camps. We just wanted to highlight those areas for you. As I previously mentioned, at the time of the pit count, we did have a group living under the bridge at McDowell and Bullard. Our HOT team was very proactive in contacting these individuals, offering services. They were not receptive of services, but have since moved on. And as you can see on the the photo on the left and in the middle, that's what the camp looked like when they were there. Prior to leaving, they cleaned it up, and that's what it looks like right now, the photo on the right. I mentioned earlier trespassing signs. Our HOT team worked with legal and public works to address our concern with the retention areas, and on Wednesday, June 26th, 15 of these signs were installed behind McLean Trucking and the Best Buy Plaza in the retention area north of I-10 and west of Litchfield. These signs will also be erected very shortly in the retention area south of Abrazo Hospital and west of the parking ride. In total, approximately 85 signs will be posted, essentially covering the retention area from Dysart to Bullard. Enforcement action will be taken against those that violate the order, and without a doubt, this will greatly decrease our area of biggest concern. Once we started our HOT team, we wanted to take a look at what our neighboring agencies are doing in comparison. And without a doubt, Phoenix Rescue Mission has been a great resource for us in our neighboring cities. They currently come to Goodyear to provide outreach services with our HOT team every Thursday, and also are out doing their own outreach. And as you can see on this chart, most of the West Valley agencies utilize them as well. All of the West Valley agencies have been proactive with sign placement, specifically the no trespassing signs, and also including that is encouraging businesses to post signs which allow us the ability to enforce trespassing. And again, we have already begun the retention area project with sign placement. Most of the West Valley agencies have some type of homeless outreach or enforcement program, and our team has established working relationships with most of them. The Trespass Letter Program, as previously mentioned, our HOT team has contacted more than 55 businesses and have obtained letter of authorization to trespass from all of them. In the last two slides I will talk about in more detail are the Repeat Offender Court Program in Peoria and the Jobs Program in Glendale, both of whom have significantly higher homeless populations, justifying the needs. And as I stated, I will discuss both of these individually in the next couple slides. First, I'd like to touch on the Repeat Offender Court Program.
Jason, let me just stop.
I'm sorry.
Let me stop a moment and ask if there's any questions so far. No questions on that? All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you, Justin.
First, I'd like to touch on the Repeat Offender Court Program. Like any program, there are opportunities and challenges that present themselves. The Repeat Offender Program is not designed just to address homeless and/or transient offenders, but for any repeat misdemeanor offender. Typically, our repeat offenders are committing nuisance-type crimes such as trespassing, littering, theft, and shoplifting. The ultimate goal is to correct the criminal behavior through placement, shelter, and/or treatment for these individuals as opposed to incarceration. The challenges that we see in initiating a program like this would be the severe impact on personnel and resources would be significant. Our hot team would need to be actively involved in the program, thus reducing their time in the field. The program would require significant collaboration between the police department and court, and we would be required to find an entity to provide social and case management services. For the homeless and or transient individuals accepted into this program, there would be significant case management to ensure program compliance and court appearances. We cannot say for certain what the cost would be to implement this type of program, but by using the city of Peoria as an example, they employ 2 additional resources through Phoenix Rescue Mission for social services and case management, as well as 2 additional detectives within the police department. Now I'd like to touch on the Glendale Jobs Program and again discuss opportunities and challenges. You may have heard of Glendale Works, and just to give you an idea of what it is, Glendale has a contract with Phoenix Rescue Mission. The contract includes a Phoenix Rescue Mission employee who supervises and oversees the program with a City of Glendale employee. They employ an average of 8 to 10 individuals a day for 5 hours that are picked up in a City of Glendale van, taken to various locations for landscaping and cleanup services. Phoenix Rescue Mission staff is able to spend an extended amount of time with these clients, which makes it easier for the client to be open to accepting of resources. The program has been beneficial to Glendale in part because they have a significantly higher homeless population to employ. A few of the challenges that we see in implementing this type of program would be impact on personnel resources. We would be required to supply food and equipment to the workers. We likely do not have the population adequate for staffing and risk homeless or transients living outside of Goodyear coming into work and then remaining in Goodyear. There would need to be a determination of what city department would manage this program. And a few other challenges would be the necessity of conducting backgrounds on participants, insurance, and workman's compensation should a worker get injured. And at this time, I'm going to turn the presentation over back to Chief Geyer.
Thank you, Justin.
So, Mayor and Council, just to summarize what you've heard tonight and our recommendation for moving forward, then we'll have some question time. First, we have a good plan in place. We'll continue to be proactive with our outreach. That will include making arrests when crimes are being committed and providing social service intervention when needed. We'll continue our engagement with our business community, our social service partners, and the West Valley Human Services Collaborative. We'll continue to evaluate our city property where homeless are present and post no trespassing signage where we can. And we'll continue to collaborate with Public Works and code enforcement to provide cleanup and code violation enforcement where needed. Also, we're looking at signage such as this, and this is actually signage from Scottsdale that says it's okay to say no to panhandlers, and it says give instead to agencies that help those in need. We're working with ADOT and looking at the possibility of coming up with some similar signage and posting it on our off-ramps and entranceways to our freeways. We're also working on a very aggressive social media campaign, such as the slide here about the homeless need real change, not spare change. And I know the mayor, too, has written articles on what our public can do to help the homeless. So our recommendation is to continue our current programs as we have a good plan in place. Also, council has made the commitment to support our homeless outreach team by funding 2 positions this year, and we have developed a model program still in its first year of operation. You've also heard about the 2 programs that we don't offer, that being the homeless court or the repeat offender court, which require a significant amount of personnel time for the PD, the court, and the prosecutor's office. After speaking with the judge, the city attorney, and city prosecutor, it's not a program that we would recommend at this time. The other is a jobs program, which again has significant funding, needs personnel to oversee the program, and could result in an increase in homeless to our city, as some may camp here if we have a place for them to work. Both of these are excellent programs under the right circumstances, though. And before we go to questions, I would like to show you a quick video. Jeff, if you could bring up the video for me. This segment actually appeared on Fox 10 News last week and is a success story about the HOT team. and also a gentleman named Joshua. So we're going to show you that right now.
Well, it took hard work, perseverance, and faith as a man goes from being homeless to back on his feet in less than a year.
This is amazing, and he did it with the help of the community and the Goodyear Police Department. Our Marcy Jones shares his incredible success story.
First-time members of the homeless outreach team met Joshua Staggs. He was panhandling in Goodyear, but today they're meeting him in Phoenix at his brand new home. Goodyear police officer Jonathan Martinez says it's unbelievable to see the improvements in Joshua since meeting him in September.
Oh, I don't have any words for it. It's super exciting just to see him, how far he's come, and it's overwhelming, to be honest with you, just being able to see the progress that he's made throughout the whole process since we met him almost 10 months ago.
Joshua was down on his luck, struggled with addiction, and lacked stability. But that all changed after working together with a few Valley resources, like the Homeless Outreach Team, Southwest Network, Agua Fria Food Bank, and Phoenix Rescue Mission. Joshua says he feels incredibly blessed.
Just the luxuries of air conditioning, to have a refrigerator to get a cold glass of milk out in the middle of the night, and be able to take showers is awesome. It's the best feeling in the world.
Officer Martinez says between the resources and Joshua's commitment to getting back on his feet, it's a recipe for success, adding that he feels lucky to be a part of the homeless outreach team.
I'll be honest with you, I think it's the best unit that we have in our department, just being able to go out there and offer resources. Obviously, we still have to do some of the enforcement, but just the outcome when we do resources is just, in my opinion, the best.
And for anybody out there who's going through a difficult time, Joshua has some advice. Never give up.
There is hope, and there is life beyond what you think. What you think is the worst thing in your life is just a part of your journey through life, and it does get better.
Marcy Jones, Fox 10 News.
That is a great story.
Yeah, just a great story. And so, Mayor and Council, that's the end of our presentation. Be happy to answer any questions or hear any thoughts or any direction that you would like to see the hot team going.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Wally, are you on the line?
Yes, Mayor, thank you, I am. Am I going to speak first?
Yes.
Well, first, I'd like to thank the Chief and Justin for the excellent presentation. Personally, I'm very pleased with what our hot team has done and continues to do every day. And I appreciate the Chief's thoughts of continuing the outreach to businesses and to social services, because I believe working together in harmony will be able to reduce the number of homeless people who come to our city. And I would also agree with all of his recommendations. We're not quite a year old with this team, and we may have a different thought in another year, but I just think they're doing a wonderful job, and I'm very proud of what they do, and I support their efforts, and I support our mayor's efforts in trying to help the homeless. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Wally. Bill?
When you leaned over, I didn't know you were going to say I'm next.
Right. You never know what I'm going to say, so I'll take that.
So I agree with Councilmember Campbell that I don't think there's a need to make any changes. I think the work has been outstanding. I really appreciate the concept of being homeless is not a crime. We need to get these folks connected to help. And it's when they choose not to and then they commit that crime that we've got to hold them accountable. But the act of being homeless is not the crime. And I appreciate that compassionate approach to the problem. So I don't need to see any changes. I think the direction is headed well, and I think if changes are necessary, I'm pretty sure we're going to hear from you in the future about what we need to do to fix it. So to Mary and Jonathan, thank you so much for the work that you are doing. It really is, it's priceless. So thank you.
Laura?
Well, I've been following the HOT team since I joined council. I've been regularly at Comstat and have celebrated all of their many successes. And I agree. I believe it's the relationships that they work so hard to establish that sets us apart. the combination of outreach, but the enforcement arm, because I think you need a healthy balance of both. And I'm also happy to hear that people who maybe just fall on hard times and things like that are able to find help, get connected, and to get where they need to be. It's interesting to look at the other cities, though, to see cities that have zero, and or a city like Gilbert, which was so minimal. I mean, what do you attribute their statistics to?
Let me answer that. There are a few municipalities that when we actually do the point in time count, don't always participate. I can't say that for everyone, but I am aware of some municipalities that aren't out like we are doing a count. So.
All right, that's fair enough. Yeah. It was just an interesting comparison. And Phoenix Rescue Mission, we've toured there, and I think a part of their success certainly is because the people who do their case management are people who have overcome obstacles themselves and know how to connect. So I really appreciate that partnership, as well as everything else that Mary and Jonathan have worked together to build all those bridges. So well done, and keep on going.
Thank you.
Brandon?
Yeah, I'm also very supportive of the program. I think the team's doing a great job, and the results speak for themselves. And I don't think we need to add anything extra at this point. I know partnering with the other social services that are doing a lot of that work every day as well, I think is the way to go. Either St. Joseph the Worker for the Worker program, or just a different. I know we have the homeless youth. There's a homeless court as well that the county has also. So I think those are all good programs that I don't think we need to recreate them right now. So I think the team's doing a great job, and I think the results speak for themselves. So thank you.
Joe?
You know, there's not a whole much more to add after that, except I appreciate all your efforts. I appreciate the efforts of the team. Based on your presentation, seems like you got everything under control at this point. Stay the course is what I would recommend. And if for some reason, you know, the situation changes and you need to come back to us, then so be it. But I think you're doing the right thing right now, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Well, Jonathan and Mary, thank you so much. When I was getting so angry that night at council meeting, I had no idea that you had already started working. So you're doing a great job. The program has developed since the two of you worked on it. And of course, that's the story that was on television that needs to get out to the rest of the people to understand. And this is a dilemma for cities because it's taxpayers' money. So when taxpayers look at that sometimes, they think, well, gee, I had tough times. I had to do this. I didn't do that. So spending money that way sometimes can upset a portion. I don't know the stats on that. I'm just saying that I know people react to it differently. But for me as a mayor, and to have a council like this that's supporting this, I think it's looking for our future not to be what those other cities are. That people coming to visit our city will feel safe and will be able to use the parks and be able to do things without that type of behavior. So I really appreciate it. And I think the program that you're working on, it's perfect. So maybe we'll be a model to some of the cities that aren't doing anything yet. Because if you don't do anything, it's just like your kids when you discipline them, right? If you don't discipline them and they have free-for-all, they're going to do it. So these are people that need help. The mentally ill, I am terribly concerned about because that's a national problem. That is all throughout the United States. And to me, that needs federal intervention of help and dollars for that. So let's hope we can get their attention sometimes and they'll start noticing what's happening to all the cities. So again, thank you for your leadership, Chief. Justin, thank you for the briefing. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
All right, thank you very much. A round of applause for this. Okay, I think we'll just go on. I don't believe we have any council reports, and I don't think there's any manager summary at this meeting. So we're going to have a regular meeting, and we have to start right at 6 o'clock. So no further business. This meeting is adjourned.